this just speaks to me. We are getting apparently a God of War inspired Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles game based on the story The Last Ronin, which is so freaking cool. This is super
Yeah.
cool. Have you heard about this story, The Last Ronin?
I I've no, so I have not heard of this the last Ronin. Also, I want to clarify real quick. I'm looking at our I was looking at the top part of our breakdown. So I thought this was the Unreal editor for Fortnite. To be clear, this game sounds cooler than Salmon to me. I just want to clarify that in case what if for whatever reason it catches fire and it's like this guy does whatever. This is what he thinks of it. I
No,
don't
no, no.
yeah, this game seems cool.
No, no. I the way I have things at the top, that's just how I'm gonna like
Oh,
how I
okay.
explain the preview of everything, but the order of things may or may not be different.
Okay.
Um, but no, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles: The Last Ronin was going to be getting a game adaptation. This came straight from Doug Rosen, who is the senior vice president for games and emerging media at Paramount Global. He said he spoke this, revealed this news to Polygon in an interview. I'm not, quoting specifically here, but going from the Polygon article, the game will apparently be authentic to the graphic novel that it's based on. For those who don't know, the Last Ronin story, it takes place in the future of the Ninja Turtles world. It's like a kind of like a one-off story of sorts in the future, where only one of the turtles is alive. All the other turtles and Master Splinter were killed by the Foot Clan. And this surviving turtle, they're in New York City. New York City is being run and ruled by a member of the Foot Clan. And the surviving turtle is trying to kill. they're trying to kill the Foot Clan leader there, get revenge for the deaths of their family and everything. And it's super cool. So like I heard about it years ago, never read it, and I was like I always wanted to. So then that's the premise of this story. Um, Although the game is going to be centered around, it's going to be authentic to the novel and centered around this one surviving turtle. Other characters could be playable in flashbacks. So I'm not going to reveal the identity of the surviving turtle. It gets revealed at the end of the first issue. But although you play as that one, in the flashbacks, everyone is there. So you might be playing as them in the flashbacks. This game is years away, though. It is being made by some team. We don't know who. Doug Rosen knows, but we don't know who. And he says the team is the right fit for the project. Now, before we get into speculation of who do we think would be the right fit for this project, this God of War inspired Ninja Turtles game, Tyler, The Last Ronin, just that premise for a Ninja Turtles story, does that interest you? How interested are you in that premise?
It sounds cooler than like I'm not a big Ninja Turtles guy, and that's not
Okay.
like they're lame or anything. It's just like I didn't grow up with a ton of Ninja Turtles stuff. I grew up in '93, so like I think I watched some of the show, but the movies were pretty much like not cool anymore by the time I started. Like kids my age weren't necessarily watching them. At least they didn't talk about it when we were at school, and it's like my parents, don't really have any attachment to them, so they were like, watch this, like this, blah blah blah. So ultimately, it was like left up to me, and it's like I don't hate them. I think they're cool, but for the most part, it's like, there's nothing that really like draws me in. So this is, it sounds cool. I mean, obviously, I'm more willing to like watch it had it been a film adaptation or something, or of course play it now as a game. So like I dig it. I think it's funny now that the God of War, if like I can see how there's some parallels, but I honestly just think they're like God of Warring it as shorthand for like taking something that was unserious and making it serious. Is that like what it's going to become shorthand for now? Like we're going to
I
make a God of War style.
Well, I think they mean more so in terms of gameplay. Um, because
Maybe I
this
guess I could see that.
because the story, it's actually like it's a graphic adult story. It's still like, I mean, it's also based like I've never read the Ninja Turtles comics. Okay, so like the IDW comics, I never read those, so I don't know how adult or graphic they are in comparison to the shows. But if your only exposure to Ninja Turtles is the cartoons or the live action movies that we've gotten, the
Fun fact:
Last
I haven't
Ronin,
seen the Michael Bay films.
I liked the Michael. I saw the first one. I haven't seen the second one, but I liked it. I thought it was fine. But the Last Ronin is very different in terms of tone from the Ten Ninja Turtles that most people might think of, where it's more playful and kid friendly, and
Yeah.
colorful and all like that. This is like, no, this
No,
is
I definitely got the vibe just from the story that it's like it's more serious, but that's what's funny about it is it's like the God of Warification. I take it as that's what he means, but ultimately they already had that, so it's not a God of Warification. I mean, maybe the combat plays similar, but I don't know. I like God of War didn't invent 3D action games, and also it definitely didn't invent the Soul style. You know what I mean? The slower, um,
yeah.
more methodical. So I don't know. It's just funny. I think it's like buzzword soup is really all it is.
Yeah, and you see, like I'm sitting here thinking to myself, all right, who do we think would be the right fit for this project, right? And they say God of War inspired Ninja Turtles game, and I'm left wondering, I'm like, who like I'm trying to think of a team that would do that. I'm like, would it be funny if they just said, "Hey, Sony Santa Monica, make that
I
game,
that
but
that
with
was about to be
us."
my answer jokingly. I was like, I know a studio that just got done with a very similar style of game.
They made the exact same one. Why don't you just change, change the character models, and there you go. Um, but when answer I actually thought of, and this would end up being a God of War style one, but would be a different style, which I think might work better. I thought Platinum Games or Capcom, because I'm thinking
So
like
here's the
in
thing.
terms of like character action and thinking about the story that we get here
If
and the action that we get from it, because the surviving turtle uses everyone's weapons. He doesn't just use his own, he uses the swords, the size, the staff, the nunchucks, all of them. And it's super cool seeing that. So like I feel like Platinum or Capcom thinking like Devil May Cry, Near Automata, like that type of gameplay, I feel like would work really well
if it's
for a
plat
Ninja Turtles game like this.
if it's platinum, we need assurances that this is the A team, not
That's why I
because
said Near Automata.
we've gotten a platinum Ninja Turtles game
That is true. We have.
and it wasn't good.
We need this to be the Near Automata team, not the
Yeah,
other team,
but see,
not
I
the
don't know.
Legend of
Yeah,
Korra one.
maybe that could work. I mean, it's nowhere near God of War like in its approach, but
I know, but that's why I'm thinking like I feel
wouldn't
like
this be
maybe a different
hilarious if it was
style
from
instead.
software? Like that
Wow,
would be so funny.
I didn't even think about that.
I mean, the
That would be
kings of third
wild.
person action games, man, you know?
That would be wild.
Well, there I mean, whatever, however you want to view Souls, because it's obviously its own niche. It's not just action, it's much more deep
Yeah.
than that, but harder. But it, like, wouldn't it be funny if they were just like, hey, can you guys make like your game meets God of War meets Ninja Turtles? And if FromSoft was like, yeah, we'll do that.
What about this? What if, and I know this isn't going to happen, but what if it was Sucker Punch? They said, "Hey, Sucker Punch, you made a samurai game. Why don't you make a Ninja Turtles game?"
I haven't played Ghost of Tsushima, so I don't know how the combat would match up, but I could see that work. But like, do they have their studio expanded enough that they'd have a B team? Because they've
Exactly.
been
That's the
pretty
thing.
open about where working on Tsushima sequel.
Right. Like I don't imagine it would be them because I'm sure they're knee deep in Ghost of Tsushima's sequel, whatever that game's going to be
And I'm
called.
also guessing that would mean exclusivity to PlayStation versus
Right.
because I think isn't Sony at this point isn't Sucker Punch officially a Sony studio?
Yeah. They have been
Yeah,
since
so
2011, if I'm right.
would Paramount even want to do that? I mean, maybe if the studio they want to work, maybe if they're like, we need to work with the studio, they'd be willing to do exclusive. But I assume they want as much money as possible, so they're gonna want a third party. But who knows?
Yeah. I'm trying to think what other team could do it. I'm thinking Capcom could make a sick one. And like at this point, I'm just trying to think like, okay, not even a strictly God of War style, like God of War style type
I'm just
of
thinking
Ninja
anybody that
Turtle
does
game.
3D action at all.
Right. That's what
I'm
I'm
trying to
trying to
think.
think of. Um, let's see. Square Enix, maybe. Square Enix,
God,
they could do
I think
some.
they should have lost the trust. And like, if Square Enix approaches you for any American IP, just run. Like, it's so
You
bad right now. It's just it's not
didn't
in a
like
good place.
Guardians?
I did like Guardians, but I I mean one good one versus like I just the fiasco from Avengers alone should let you know that maybe don't trust like maybe don't trust Square Enix as a whole with your projects, you know what I mean?
Okay. Okay. Um, I'm trying to think about Western developers. who could pump out a good.
And to be fair, I'm not saying Japanese developers can't do it. I've already propositioned From Software here. I'm just
No,
saying
I know
Square
you
Enix
weren't.
specifically.
No, I know you were. I know you were. But those are the Japanese developers that just came
It
to mind
is, yeah.
automatically. So I'm
It
trying to
does
think of
feel like
outside.
more of a Western studio thing, just because it seems like that's where so much of the reverence for Turtles comes from.
Yeah, I thought about Ninja Theory actually briefly, because they
Maybe,
they
yeah,
did
I can see
DMC
that.
back in the day. But again, they're knees deep in Hellblade, so like
And
it's not going to
also
happen.
would come with exclusivity.
There's also that aspect of things too, which I didn't think about.
My money's on it says developer that's a little smaller, that's like maybe under everyone's radar.
What if it was Ubisoft?
It could, man. Oh God, I don't want it to be
The
Ubisoft.
monkeys, poor girls, right there. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 3D action game made by Ubisoft.
I mean, I'm trying to think who Paramount's had properties with, but like they did the SpongeBob games. Obviously, those aren't the same, but it's like who would they have relationships with? That's like THQ Nordic. Is the Biomutant team doing anything?
Do we want the Biomutant team to do
I'm
this?
not saying that that's. I'm trying to be realistic about who it could
Yeah.
be. Um,
I don't know what they would do, what they're
like
doing
if I'm
right now.
throwing darts at a dartboard, that would probably be my guess right now. The more I think about it, because I'm trying to think of like who have they fostered relationships with, and because like all the big dream casting, the studio casting ones here, um, I just don't think any of them. It's not that they don't like turtles. It's just that they're all kind of busy on pre-established projects. And so it's like, okay, who do they have a good business relationship with that if you squint right, you tell yourself, oh, well, Biomutant could have been successful if XYZ, maybe it's more resources, maybe it's this. And so, and plus it's 3D action, but it's, um, I could easily see them being like, yeah, well, if we give them this much time, this much money equals maybe a better game. I don't know. And I think that's like inherently the risky part, which is why when there's stuff like this thrown out there, I'm always like, let me see the trailer. I'll be the judge if this looks good or not.
Real quick, I just thought about this. You mentioned the exclusivity thing, but like that kind of gets balanced out on both sides of the coin by one, if it's exclusive on PlayStation, PlayStation has like a big install base. People would buy it off that alone. Like you'd make your money back off that alone right there. And then
Yeah.
on the Xbox side of things, it's the factor. So it's gonna be played by millions of people right off bat, and you'll get the money, you'll get the upfront pay buy-in from Microsoft because it's getting put on Game Pass. So with that in mind, like honestly, I could see it being exclusive to either one, and it wouldn't be on Ninja Theory because again, knees deep in Hellblade, but I don't think it's this team either. But what if it was Tango? And I say that because of Hi-Fi Rush and how good Hi-Fi Rush was.
Yeah, I could see that because they do 3D action stuff just in general. I mean, Hi-Fi Rush was a banger for sure. Uh, I would be excited because I think that was by far their best game, and so it'd be interesting to see them now get Turtles. That's one that like I would want. I would feel like okay, this game should be good now. Um,
Yeah.
but again, I just realistically also Microsoft has to make up for sales unless
True.
Microsoft agrees as part of it is like we want this game and we want to make sure it shows up on our platform if they allow it to be released on Sony systems. I don't know, is Paramount down bad enough to like risk losing potential sales just for an upfront payment? I don't know. And
But I
also how
mean,
long
I
can
mean Microsoft
Microsoft
Microsoft is getting that Indiana Jones game. So, and Indiana Jones is from Lucasfilm and Disney. And you admit that's already a bigger IP and a holding company than Paramount and Ninja Turtles.
Yeah,
So,
but
nothing's out
this
the
is
realm of
clearly
possibility.
Disney's strategy is like, hey, we're gonna work out deals and give this to you and this to you and this to you. Whereas, like, if you think about it, like, what is Paramount? What other IP does Paramount have that's like video game ripe where they can go, oh, hey, we're so sorry, Sony, we're giving this to Microsoft. Um, do you want? And it's like Sony's like, no, fuck that. You're burning a bridge here. Like, I assume, I mean, like, it's not quite that, but it's like that's something they will keep in mind and, move forward. Like I generally think they don't want to sour those business relationships, and I don't think they have the leverage that a Disney has.
Hmm. Interesting. Yeah, it'll be. I'm
Gun in
curious.
my head, BioWare team or not BioWare, Biomutant team is my guess.
You think it's them? If I'm trying to look at like the games I have over here, just like to get ideas for
You're like
possible teams.
anybody but them, please.
Well, no, just because I'm trying to think of like what teams could do this. Um, and it doesn't help that like off the top of my head, I can't think of like a whole lot of third party teams that could possibly do it. Um, like again, I thought about Ubisoft. Maybe a team at EA could do it. I'm just not sure who at EA would even do it because they're all like busy on things as well. I don't know who would be the fit over there. Um, I'm not sure who from 2K or Take Two would do it. Maybe a Gearbox. Ooh, what if Gearbox did it?
Buddy, it's I they have announced nothing, and that game released in 2021, and there was a PS5 port. You said a few years away. That's not. If you're starting a game from scratch, we're talking probably 4 or 5. A few means it's been in development for a year, maybe two, I think, possibly even 3. All the Biomutant team, which is I don't want to be too mean, Experiment 101 here. They haven't released shit other than PS5 and Xbox Series X, or yeah, Xbox Series X ports of Biomutant since 2021. I would bet money that this is who's developing this game.
You know what?
Run from it.
I
What is this
want
Thanos quote? He's like, it's run from it.
you know what? I hope you're right just so that you could be like, I predict this back in
This is going to be
2023.
the greatest callback clip ever. Yeah, we're just going to have the podcast dated and everything, and
I
then it's
hope
just
you are right. Just for that level of load.
for that moment. Yeah,
Yes.
you're like, but for the game's enjoyment, I hope you're right.
For the game enjoyment, I'm not too sure about that. I'm not too sure about that one, Chief.
It's like you
Uh,
think the world's clamoring for a Biomutant sequel? No, they're not doing shit. THQ and THQ, what do they love? THQ's Nordic, what do they love to do? Attach themselves to IP. They have the fostered business relationship with Paramount Plus. This studio did 3D action, whether you like it or not. It's not like the production quality looked like it was hot garbage or something. It was a game. It had a lot of flaws, but ultimately, I guarantee Paramount, they probably got it way cheaper to like do a deal with them than like, I'm sure they had to give way bigger a cut if you're giving it to a different studio. Like, there's just a lot of reasons I would personally bet. And then they haven't been doing anything, which I know lots of studios don't, reveal what they're doing, but like every other studio, there's just too much that we know they're doing. There's too much, potential conflict of interest with exclusivity. This just makes all the sense in the world.
you know, you make good points. You make good points there.
I
So
cracked the case, folks.
I think you might have cracked the case there. Just to be different. Just to
It's
be
this or
different.
it's a smaller studio would be my bet. If it's somehow a smaller studio that's worked on even smaller games, ultimately there's no way to predict that. Um, but yeah, I'm just following the cookie crumbs here.
Just to be different, I'm gonna say Gearbox. Just to be different. Okay,
Yeah.
because
The
I could see Gearbox. Yeah, it'd be different for them stylist like tonally and stylistically, but I think I can see Gearbox doing it and maybe doing it well. Um, if not them, maybe Slow Clap, the guys who did Sifu. But I don't think that's gonna go to like a indie team because they're saying this is a AAA game. And that's also a thing. Since it's supposed to be AAA, I don't think of THQ Nordic as a AAA team. I think of them more as like a double A, or at least whatever
okay,
team it
but
was that made Biomutant. If it wasn't THQ,
who who in the world, like, I don't think the team at Biomutant would have described a Biomutant as double A. Would do you?
probably.
No, they wouldn't. And
I think they
you're
would
trying to
have.
avoid. You're trying to
No,
run from
I'm
the truth
not.
here.
I'm not trying to run from the truth. Okay,
Also,
I'm
to
being
be fair,
honest.
if you just say like, "Hey, we gave a double A studio more money," call it a triple A game. Like that's all. I'm sure that's how a lot of people in the industry just view it. Like if there's people in the industry that view what they did as Biomutant as a first game, good work that like is a stepping stone. I promise you, there's people that think that. I'm not saying I do. I've never played Biomutant, and the reception makes me, somewhat doubtful of that. But I promise you, there are people in the industry that view it that way.
Okay.
And the more and more that comes out of my mouth, the more I realize either like, oh, it's a funny goof, but I'm gonna look like fucking Messiah if this is right. Just like laying out all the the reasons.
Just got hit with the ball of prophecy. Just giving the gift of
YouTube
prophecy.
comments are just gonna be like, can this guy give us the lottery numbers?
Shoot, give me the lottery numbers.
Yeah, I
Give
know.
me the key
You
to
think I'd be
everything.
using this power for dumbass game predictions if I knew?
Oh man. All right. We gotta wait. We gotta wait a bit. I don't, who
Yeah.
knows how long we gotta wait. Hopefully we'll find out before the end of this year. But I'm excited about this game. The story was great. I actually, like I said, I want to read the story for years after it first came out, but I didn't read it until Friday night because I was like, okay, this is a story we're talking about. I need to at least know who the turtle was that's who like the story centered around. That way I don't get spoiled or anything. I read the entire story. There's only 5 issues. So I found it online, read the whole thing. It's a it's a good story. It's a great story. I really enjoyed it. And I
Oh,
think
so
there's
you
a
went
lot
and
of
you read it
possibilities.
all?
Yeah, I read it online on Friday. It's a good story.
Wow. Yeah, that's
I
quick.
enjoyed it. So I was like, all right, cool. This is what we're getting. I'm down for this. I'm down for the getting down. Looking forward to seeing just yeah, story brought to life in a different way.
You've now had it spoiled for yourself, but yeah.
Well, I mean, I wanted it to be spoiled for me because I like the surviving turtle. That is a key mystery, and that's a key thing
Yeah.
to spoil. So I didn't want that spoiled for me without before it came out. I was like, you know what? I want to read it myself. I've been wanting to for a while, so I did the thing.